All right, what's going on, guys? Let's do a little update on Riot. This was a fun one so far. So, we've been running pretty damn good. You can see on the 4-hour here, we have a 7 flash here, so around 1:30 it'll be an 8 flash. We looked like we kind of double wicked up here. We're trying to get above this 53.93. If you look on the left here, we wicked up here a couple times, but we weren't able to actually get a 4-hourly close above that $54 range here. The overall pattern that we're in here, the main resistance to start is the $62 range there when we get there. But we're coming up on the first potential resistance, saying that if this was a, kind of a falling, broadening channel here, right? And that resistance would be roughly 55.25. And then my initial thing I was talking about prior, which doesn't have to work out like that, but this could be a left shoulder ahead, and then we could be making a right shoulder depending on what Bitcoin does. I mean, that's my opinion. And then, another thing that we could do is, let's see. I mean, right now on the 4-hour, we just got a MACD cross, right? So, I mean, if we put this upper trend line here like that, that's actually kind of been where we've been bouncing off here. So, I guess that's one way we can look at it here, which, right now the trend line would perfectly line up here with the top of this bullish pennant that we broke out of here, which is roughly around 51.55. So, I mean, I wouldn't be worried if it came down to 51.55 from where it is right now, personally. That would still be fine with me, and I would probably buy some more. Looking at the hourly here, we just got a small spinning top here as we just came up and tried to get this close above this resistance. So this level is going to be very tricky. You can see we've already touched it many times here. So it's very possible that this could be a small little rising wedge if we took a trend line like that and we did this, which I might have just already broke down from, and it kind of did something like that. No, it didn't quite break down from it. So, I've seen these style pennants here that kind of looks like a bull pennant, but I've seen them break down bearishly, so I'm going to actually play it that it's going to break down here, and let's see what would happen. So 51.82 roughly, so we'd pretty much come down and potentially backtest that, try to backtest this as support, and that would help reset the RSI a little bit, and then maybe make another pennant here, or buy back up, make another pennant, or this whole thing could turn into a bull flag. We'll have to see how that plays out here. As long as it doesn't start breaking this $51 range, I will still be bullish here. We got a little sell signal there. Potentially, if we were to go from this far left move and this far right move, there's pretty clear bearish divergence there. So that's something to keep in mind as well, as far as a bearish point of view here. So we want to keep that in mind, but this also is going to be that upward sloping resistance, or support rather, right now. And then we're kind of getting squeezed right now between this as we come down here. If we don't break it, we come back up. Eventually we're going to get squeezed in between this support and resistance, and we're going to have to go one way or the other. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So far we've bounced off of this first support box here. And then the second support box, if I was to draw one, is right between this 51.70 and 52 roughly area here. These were some wicks that we had up here, 52.06. We had a wick to the 51.78. So, I mean, right between there is probably an area that I would expect that we would maybe catch some support. Don't have to. We just had a TD9 flash on the 45-minute, and then we had this little sell-off spinning top here. So we could get rejected here and come back down, like I said, and test this area somewhere between 51.45 and 51.77, 51.80, something like that, is kind of where I would be looking for it to fall to. If it started going lower than that, obviously we'd have to worry. But for now, I'm not too worried, even with the, even though we've been getting like many green candles in a row here. I think that it's still going to have some room to go, even if it resets a little bit. Let's look at the daily and see if there's any warning signs or anything. I mean, there's not really too much warning signs. Obviously, the volume is not even close to as big as it was there. So, it's still a little bit of indecision here as we try to get over the daily 20 EMA, and there we go. So that's where we kind of are sitting under right now, is that daily 20 EMA at 53.26. So if we can actually get above that, that would be even more bullish, of course. That's really what we need to see this thing, because we're still under this. So we're pretty much getting squeezed between this 50 daily at 44.23 and this 20 daily at 53.32. It does look like this RSI, this MACD is starting to roll, but it's a little bit too far away from it right now to see what's going to happen here. I'm just taking it a little bit at a time. I'm in some pretty decent locked up positions. On the 2 hour here, we're getting squeezed between this 50 EMA, which is the 54.16, and this 200 EMA, which is 52.46. So, if we decided to come down, we could break that potentially, but 52.51 maybe would be a level that we would want to see continuing to hold here. I know I just threw out like 15 different targets, but I'm just trying to call out some downside potential targets here. I'm still bullish on this, even with the little bit of this rolling here that we're getting. But I'm just talking about a few warning signs here, and if it does decide to come down and back test this resistance line here, or support line, I keep calling it a resistance line, then that's very possible, because we've been doing that quite often. We buy up, we hit a resistance, we come down, we wick off of this line, we buy up, hit a resistance, come down, wick up this line, so on and so forth. So now we just bought up, hit a resistance. So what are we going to do? Possibly come down and wick off this line, which could be 51.81 to 52.50, depending on how it happens. And, if we look over at Bitcoin here and see what's going on, well, we kind of did the same thing here. We kind of had a little sell-off there at the end. So Riot, of course, kind of did the same, believe it or not. What are the odds, right? So this right here looks kind of like the way I drew it. Looks like a descending triangle here. And, originally it was looking like a bull pennant. Now it's looking like a descending triangle that did break down here, bounced off of this previous pennant, bought back up, got resistance up in this range here. And if we took a look to the left, you can kind of see the area that Bitcoin is getting resistance at. If we were to take a support box just to kind of see what's going on, what are we dealing with here, and you look over here, we drew a straight line across here, and then we came down to the bottom here, roughly, I'll say roughly about there. This is the range that we are trading in right now. The same range here that we chopped around in, caught resistance, caught support, caught resistance, caught support, broke all the way down, came back up, caught resistance, caught support, caught resistance. So support is looking at 57.486 roughly, which is also the 50 EMA on the 2 hour. And then resistance roughly is this 59.436. And, we haven't got any closes above it yet. So I'm kind of watching for that to see what's going to happen here. And, right now it looks like there's bearish divergence on the 3 hour here. So, it could be coming back down here to test this 57.482. If it wicks below, then we have this same kind of situation with Bitcoin, where it has this upper trend line here that it likes to buy up, hit a resistance, back test, come up, hit a resistance, and it hasn't really back tested it yet, not as much as Riot was here. But, if it was to back test that here at some point, that would be around 56,681 roughly. And would probably make sense, because I'm pretty sure that we have a daily 20 EMA here that on Bitcoin we are above here. and that's right around 56,689. So it's possible we come back down and back test that again here. You know, we're still just kind of trying to get above this 60K area here. I mean, obviously that's 59.5, but we're really just trying to test the 60K, and we're kind of like just coming up to it and then getting scared and selling off. So, you know, it's a little bit psychological, and it's very possible that we could actually end up faking out here and having to come all the way back down, you know, coming back down here and testing this lower line here at 54K to make a double bottom here before we actually come up. I'm not too certain on that just yet, but I am keeping that in my ideas here. But for now, you know, whether or not this is actually a descending triangle or if we're actually dealing with a bull flag, which is very possible as well, if we actually just drew that trend line there as the lower support, would make sense too if we were just making a bull flag here, and if we got rid of some of this here, maybe even a bigger bull flag. If we didn't want to go like that, we could just do this and say grab this support box wherever the hell it is with this new update. I'm gonna get out of here in a second, guys, but I just wanted to take a look here real quick. So if we from here drew this across and maybe even came down to here roughly, we could say that we are making a nice bull flag here, and we're just starting to make this. So if you look between here and we keep an eye on this, it's very possible that we could just trade in here for a little while before we decide to eventually break out, which might be when we finally get to this line here. But you know, hard to say right now. That's just kind of speculation because we don't really know. You know, there's a couple different things I see here. Another thing I'm going to say real quick is that this could be some kind of left shoulder. This could be some kind of head. And if we came back down here, then we could be making a right shoulder. And then this inevitably could be an inverse head and shoulders being built as we speak as well. But, you know, that's just speculation too right now. As of right now, we just have this bearish divergence, kind of exaggerated bearish divergence. Is it? No, hidden bearish divergence on the 4 hour. If you look over here on the left, lower on the left, higher on the right, and we're pretty much straight across here. So, you know, it does look like we're going to come down here potentially. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this level of support at 57K. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now with Bitcoin and Riot. So it does kind of make sense that Riot looks like it's ready to sell off a little bit and test some lower support. And we'll have to keep an eye on Bitcoin here because, you know, if we were to get rid of this line, and this line, you can see that we are in a rising wedge here. And I am expecting it to come up here and potentially test this upper line here, which would be around 65.2. And depending on if this turns into a big W and has a bigger breakout, obviously it could break out to the upside there. But as of right now, you know, I could even probably change this a little bit. Whoops. I could actually do something like that. Would make more sense, right? Clean it up a little bit here. And you can kind of see that if we were to have a fall, which I don't believe we're going to fall like or anything like that. I think we're just trending in here, and we're consolidating and resetting the RSI. And we're just trying to get above this level here, which was very tough resistance in the past, and we're trying to get above it. So if this ends up being a bull flag right here, then we could be heading up to our next move once we finally find some support or break above that trend line there. And we could be looking at a move here, which could be you know, this is a speculation too, guys, so but that could be a big enough move to potentially blast us up to the 67K if we can get above this resistance. But anyway, guys, I know this is a video about Riot and I drifted off, but They're going to work hand in hand, in my opinion. But I'll let you guys go. Hit the like button. Peace.